Welcome, my friend. I'm glad you're here. Today, I'll be walking you through the psychology of sales and what exactly goes into getting a prospect or lead to almost literally always say yes to you. If they're a qualified customer, they're a qualified prospect or lead, 90% of the time, literally, you'll have a 90% closing rate if they're qualified, if you follow this psychology and learn and use this psychology of sales, of how sales actually works. And this comes from actually being the head sales consultant for one of the greatest marketers of all time, Frank Kern, and through doing a lot of sales for my own businesses. I got started in sales as young as 15 years old. So this strategy is founded from facts, from studying, from researching, and from practicing, experimenting with sales. So first of all, the essence of all sales and all business is the fact that people buy from whom they like, know, and trust. And if someone does not like you, know you, or trust you, most likely they will not or will nearly almost never buy from you. And this also includes companies, products, and services, and salespeople. People only buy from a business or only buy a product or service if they trust the company, if they trust the person selling to them, or the sales process selling to them, and if they trust the product or service. And when you can meet these three things and learn how to meet like, know, and trust through what I'm going to walk you through, that is when you will get a buyer nearly every single time. If the prospect can afford and wants your product or service, they will buy. I can nearly guarantee it. And I'll be walking you through how to establish this like, know, and trust. Because just building rapport is not going to get you there. Just getting your prospect to say yes from some questions is not going to get you there. There's so much more to it. But if you do follow this, again, I can guarantee you will close more customers, you will sell more, no matter what you are selling in any industry or niche, and you'll have lifelong customers who buy and want to work with you, and who are advocates for your business, and who will refer you customers for life. And as well, people buy under these circumstances and conditions too. They buy when they feel certain they will get the X result they want. They will buy when they feel the time to get that X result will not be too long. They will buy when they feel the X result is of enough meaningful impact. Additionally, they will buy when X result will be relatively easy or simple to accomplish. Number 5, they will also buy if a Y risk is small or non-existent. And finally, most importantly, a prospect or customer will buy if they feel they are cared about by those they communicate with. I want to give you an example of all of this in a certain situation so you understand what would make the perfect offer or reason for someone to buy. So let's imagine I'm working with and I'm trying to consult for an agency who has really low customer retention, meaning their customers don't keep buying from them for very long. Maybe it's only 3 or 4 months. And they're looking to have customers stay with them for up to a year, because if they did that, they would make way more profit. Well, an agency would buy my consulting services nearly every single time if they felt certain I could increase the customer retention to a year, and I could help them do that in the next 30 days, and that would be amazingly impactful for them because it's exactly what they're looking for. And if I could show them how to retain customers longer in a relatively easier, simple manner where there's almost no risk to them, and I show them all of that and could walk them through those things and also show them that I truly care about them, they're going to buy nearly every single time. And that is your job in any sales conversation, in any sales process. That is what sales and marketing does, is it walks the prospect or customer through these 6 things while building like, know, and trust at the same time. The only thing is, most salespeople don't actually understand how to do this stuff. They don't know how to build like and trust. They don't know how to make someone feel certain they're going to get a result. They don't know how to make someone feel cared about. They don't know how to make someone feel like it's going to be a big impact when they work together. And I want to walk you through those things. And finally, it's very important to understand that people buy also from those who understand the problems they express, and they understand those problems deeply. And people also buy from people who understand their desires, their real, true desires deeply. So you'll want to make sure that during your sales conversation that you're asking questions to truly understand what your prospect or client is going through, to discover the problems they are facing, and to make sure you understand their desires exactly, the solutions they're looking for, and why they have the problems they have, and why they have those exact desires. When you ask questions to discover those things, they will feel heard, your prospect will feel understood, and they will feel like you actually care about them, which will build like, know, and trust as well. And to really simplify this all down, in sales, in business, your job is to build like, know, and trust while communicating and questioning each prospect or lead in a way that makes them feel certain that they will get the result they want with little to no risk in a reasonable time period. That is the definition of how to close any customer or prospect. If you do these things, if you follow this sentence, if you can learn how to do what is contained within this sentence, you will close and be able to scale any sales process, sales conversation, business, customer, you name it. Every metric of your business will improve drastically because you can apply this to your sales process, you can apply this to a sales conversation, you can apply this to advertising, you name it. Again, your job in business, and if you want to get more customers and scale a business, is to build like, know, and trust while communicating and questioning each prospect or lead in a way that makes them feel certain that they will get the result they want with little to no risk in a reasonable time period. While also, I would add, feeling cared about. Now the question is, how is this accomplished? How do you build like, know, and trust? And how do you ensure nearly every single person you talk to wants to buy from you? How do you make sure every prospect feels certain? How do you ensure that every single prospect feels like they're getting a great deal? And how do you ensure every prospect feels like they are listened to and cared about? And everything else we've gone through. It's accomplished by following the foundations of consultative sales that have proven to convert higher and achieve higher customer retention than any other sales strategy in existence. I want to walk you through these foundations right now, and I think they're going to help you truly get a lot higher conversion rates, a lot higher closing rates, and improve nearly every aspect of your marketing, sales, and business, because these foundations apply to every part of business, especially sales though. So the first element of building like, know, and trust is, of course, building like. And this is actually a thing. I've made it into a thing at least. And this is how you appear, how you sound, and how you feel to the prospect you are working with. And what goes into that is by dressing professionally, sounding confident, certain, and knowledgeable, and also feeling sure of yourself, which goes with confidence, and feeling sure of what you are saying. This is the initial stages of building like. This can also include the appearance of your background, the appearance of the building you're in, the appearance of wherever you are located that the customer sees, and also the sound of the location, you name it. So again, the start of building like, which is crucial, is how you and or the product and company you are working with in the background, anything that the customer experiences, the prospect experiences, how it appears, how it sounds, and how it feels to them. So for your appearance, make sure you have a haircut, make sure you have clean clothes, make sure you usually have a business casual to business like clothing on. You want a nice background. Good lighting is key. You want to smell good, be showered, be clean, look good. Look like you're someone who's focused on getting the customer or client or prospect results, that you care about yourself enough to present yourself in a way the customer feels they can trust you. Now as well, again, for sounding, you want to have confidence in your voice, speak at an even pace, match the tonality of the prospect you're talking to, have a good microphone, or speak clearly or loud enough so you are heard easily. You want to make sure you don't have any background noise or eliminate any background noise of the situation or environment you are in. Again, speak clearly, mainly speak calmly, and speak in a very friendly and open and fun manner. And finally, feel. This is the most difficult part of sales, the most difficult part of business, the most difficult part of marketing, the most difficult part of business to establish, but it can be done because it is felt. Feeling is felt by you and your prospect based upon how you internally feel. it is represented through messaging, copy, and communication. How you feel about sales, your products, your company, will be felt by the prospect and the language you use subconsciously and consciously. So you want to reinforce your thoughts around these topics. How you feel physically and emotionally will also impact every sales conversation and conversation you have in general. So eat well, manage your mind, and make sure you are healthy and you are alert. Thirdly, how you feel about the prospect and their ability to buy will also impact every sales conversation you have. And believing and truly feeling certain to your core that this prospect is going to buy, that your product services can help them, and that you are ready for this and they're ready for this as well, is the best way to make sure that you can close and build like with any prospect you're communicating to. Next, we have building know. This includes being knowledgeable of the client, of the prospect, your product and services, the company you work with or the industry you're in, and the messaging they have seen before coming to the sales calls. You must be knowledgeable of all of these things because these things may come up or will come up or already have come up in the sales conversation with the prospect or client. Whether a prospect's going to ask you about a product or service or a feature or a benefit or a question about the industry that you are in or that they are in, or they see or know or can tell that you have actually asked enough questions to know their problems or know the solutions they're looking for, that is a part of building know. So please make sure you research and are knowledgeable about the exact sales process any prospect or client or customer will go through before they came to the call, during your call and after. Be knowledgeable of the client and customer as much as you can before the call. Of course, ask questions and learn about them during it. Be very knowledgeable about the product and services you're offering, about the company, and about the industry you are in, or about the industry they are in. This will all help you communicate and work with any prospect or customer in an easier manner that will increase your closing rates and help you acquire and keep customers longer. Finally, you have building trust, and this is essential. And this happens when you combine all of these sales elements together. And it also helps when you are leading the conversation. People trust leaders. People trust people who are showing them and guiding them or helping them discover their own solutions and their own problems. People also trust people who illustrate a genuine caring for them through communication, nonverbal and verbal. And also you build trust through a little bit of sales psychology as well. So you want to combine all these things and you will be able to build trust in a reliable and consistent manner. Now let's walk through the sales psychology that helps build like, know, and trust with your prospect, and as well the sales psychology that makes your prospect feel certain, risk-free, and happy about working with you. So the first thing you want to do during a sales conversation is get the prospect to say yes a lot. We've gone over this. It's really crucial because when a prospect says yes repeatedly, subconsciously, they will continue to want to say yes to you and agree with you. As well, you want to make sure you are asking questions that lead to an answer that you can use later in this sales conversation. So maybe I'll ask the question, do you think if we helped you with your customer retention that we'd be able to increase your profits? The answer is obviously yes. It's a yes question that I can also use later in the conversation. When I'm in the close of the conversation, I could possibly say, from what we've already talked about, it seems like you would agree that if we increase customer retention, you'd see a lot more profit. Does that still sound like something you want to do, and would you want me to help you with that? They would say yes, great. Now I'd say, okay, here's how you can work with me and how I can help you with that. And they won't reject or object to it because they agreed to it. So you want to ask questions that you can use later in the conversation that they agreed to. And finally, the best sales psychology you want to use is to never disagree with the client and never fight objections. You want to either transition or redirect the objection to a further agreement. Let's imagine that the prospect objected and said, I'm not sure if right now is the right time. I may respond with, well, why isn't it the right time? Because from what you've told me, you've said you've tried fixing this issue before, and you've mentioned that it's pretty huge because if you don't retain customers for longer, you're losing profit. So wouldn't you rather do this right now, make this deal with me, and see 3 to 5 times higher customer retention and a lot more profit now than wait? Because we can wait. You can wait. But do you really want to wait and leave all this profit behind and keep yourself from growing your business? That is a way to not object to what they said, to possibly even agree with it, and transition the conversation with more questions. And to also, again, get agreement. So when it comes to actually asking prospects questions to get them to say yes and get them to say it a lot, you don't want to lose too much. And the way you do it in a really balanced way is to simply ask yes questions throughout every stage of the sales conversation, or at least frequently throughout it. So every maybe 3-4 minutes, you want to ask, maybe even every 2 minutes, you want to ask a yes question to get confirmation. And this yes question could simply be, is it okay if I walk you through the sales process? Is it okay if I walk you through how we're able to help you? Is it okay if I walk you through our payment options? Even those are good yes questions to ask, not just questions that lead or are used for other questions later on down the line. For asking leading questions, here's a great example of this. You could ask, if we could help you accomplish everything we went through, what kind of other results do you think that would help you accomplish? So, this makes the prospect envision in their mind that you are going to work together and accomplish some things together. And it also gets the prospect to envision in their mind other results they may see from working with you. It gets them to verbally speak and think about more results they can get from working with you. So basically, it's almost like assuming the sale, assuming the close, assuming a result's going to happen. That's a well-structured leading question that you can use. And again, you can use this answer later to cover for a transition, to cover an objection, to get a yes, you name it. It's really just using questions to get more data on the customer and also help them walk through their own thoughts they have about the problems they have and the solutions they're looking for. So do ask leading questions and think about different ways that you can structure them to help your prospect think about your solutions that you provide, to help them think about how their problems will be solved, that make them think about working with you, you name it. And again, you never want to fight objections. You want to either agree or affirm their objection. You want to transition or relate the idea or thought to move the conversation forward in some way or another, or double down on the objection. Now here's a way to agree or affirm an objection without confirming what the customer actually thinks. Let's imagine a customer just told me, well, what you're offering, it's a little pricey. I might reply with, you're absolutely right. For most people, it is higher in price, and that's because we are the best in the industry and because we guarantee results for every single customer or client. So really, does it matter if it's a little bit higher price than other alternatives when you are certain you're going to get the result you're looking for? Or do you want to experiment around and waste your time? Another way you could answer this or affirm it or transition it is to go, I absolutely hear you. It is higher price, and that's why we always make sure we get our customers results every single time, because we really truly do care about you, and we'll do everything we can to make sure every dollar you spend with us is wisely used to get you actual results. And finally, the biggest sales psychology secret that is in the open, well known, but very few salespeople actually use it, is you need to actually care about your prospect and think of it in terms of what is truly best for them and the situation they are in. People sense this, they feel it, they know it, especially people who are established in sales or know anything about it or who have been in different sales situations. For example, if I'm ever communicated to in even a slightly salesy way, I immediately pick up on it and I call it out immediately. So for example, I have people reach out to me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, email, you name it. And just by the way they word certain phrases or they speak, I can tell they're not genuine, they're using a script, they don't actually care because they're not speaking like a person who actually cares. So focus and think in terms of what is truly best for your prospects and customers. Now, I want to walk you through some more sales psychology and how you can help your prospect feel certain and build more like, know, and trust with you. Now, of course, feeling certain does come from building rapport, asking questions, and asking yes questions. But also, how you can make a prospect feel certain is with guarantees, proof of past results, building that feeling of trust, how I've walked you through, and also by making agreement that there aren't other options that they can use. And it's even better if you can have the consumer, prospect, or customer agree that you are the best option available. And through your questions and through communicating with the client, you can communicate these ideas throughout the sales conversation, especially when you follow the sales conversation structure I will show you in another video. Now, to help your prospect feel more risk-free, you can include, again, guarantees, more proof of past results, have segmented or separated payments for a product or service. So instead of having one big payment of $10,000, you can reduce the risk for a prospect. Maybe they really can't afford, after you work with them, you cover objections, you name it, they go, you know what, I actually can't afford $10,000 at one point, at a single payment. So you go, great, that's fine, I still want to work with you, so I'm okay with splitting up the payments. What if we made the payments split up into 5 different payments? Every month, you only paid X amount of money. Would reducing the payment per month or splitting it up into multiple payments help you? And would that make you feel okay with this decision to work with us? That's where you want to make sure you have segmented payment options available and possibly even a little discount. And also, again, finally, you can help a prospect feel risk-free if you get agreement that this is the best option they can take, and that the other options they've already tried did not work, and they agree to that. And again, you do this by asking questions. And finally, what's really great to do with sales psychology is to make your prospect feel incentivized. Make them feel like they're getting an absolutely incredible deal, that they are stupid, they're almost idiotic to say no to you. By offering bonuses, by offering discounts, by offering rewards, by offering guarantees, and also increasing the scarcity of the deal and offer you have. Now, think about everything I've gone through. Imagine if with every prospect, the sales process, the advertising, and the sales conversation they see, you properly build, like, know, and trust with them. You ask the right questions. You genuinely show you care for them. You give an absolutely incredible deal. You get them to keep saying yes, 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 and you truly understand every single minute problem they have. You understand the roots of those problems. You understand the solutions they're looking for. And you've helped them feel certain that you can help them get the most results in the shortest amount of time possible with the least amount of risk. And you've done this while building rapport, truly, again, showing you care about them, building like, know, and trust, appearing, sounding, and looking and feeling professional and like you are trustworthy. Do you think your customer's going to buy from you almost every single time? And the answer is yes, because I just asked you a yes, and I just asked you a leading question, and it worked, because this stuff works. And I promise you, if you use this psychology and you entwine and combine these things together into your advertising, into your sales process or your funnel, into every sales conversation, and into all communication with every prospect and customer you have, you'll build more like, know, and trust. You'll build lifetime buyers. You'll close more. Your conversion will raise. And you will see so many more great things happen in your business. And again, this especially works wonderfully for sales conversations and offers.